Hey, Godly Beauties, welcome back. I hope you guys had a great day. I just wanted to come on and do another video for those of you ladies or gentlemen who are considering becoming a CNA, which is a certified nursing assistant. It is entry level into healthcare, and many males and females who start off as a CNA do move on to become nurses, and some go on to do physician's assistant and different things of that nature. Starting off as a CNA is good because the course isn't but so long, and some of it's common sense. It's a few skills you can learn in there, and the cost is relatively cheap compared to some other degrees in the nursing field, or the healthcare field, I should say. So I just wanted to highlight a few things. I was a CNA for about 12 years before I decided to become an LPN. It was not for me, and that was because I mostly worked at long-term care facilities. I did work at a few that were really nice places, and they did treat their patients very well, and I was very pleased with that. But the pay wasn't what I wanted it to be, of course. Well, not of course. Sometimes you can find a place that pays you well, and it's still it has good patient ratios. So keep that in mind when you're considering that. Some facilities, so in my experience, some facilities gave me the amount of patients I should have, which was about 7. A really nice place. I can only think of a couple though, here where I live, that gave you appropriate patient ratios. But unfortunately, most of them are giving you too many, like 15, 20, 25, 30, and that depends on the shift you work too. And depending on staffing. Those patients that you do have can be, most of them are going to be total care, and total care is exactly what it sounds like. They can't do anything for themselves, whether that be because they're quadriplegic, whereas they can't move their hands and arms, or they have MS, or whatever the case is. They need help. So you would do their hair, you would do oral care, washing face, washing the body, changing their brief if they wear a brief, or toileting them, which of course, so you're doing everything for that human being. So that's a lot, and it can be, especially when you have so many patients, it can just be too much, in my opinion. And as you can imagine, that would make for a very physically demanding job. But it also, for me, it was taking an emotional and mental toll as well, day in and day. I was working like 5 days a week at most jobs. Sometimes I would work, I had 1 or maybe 2 jobs where I worked 12-hour shifts. But mostly I found that I was being offered 5/8. So it was burning me out. And also, I would be ripping and running, depending on your shift and depending on how fast you work. There were some ladies, they had it. They knew, they were good at it. So not everybody enjoyed it, but some of those ladies were really good at it. I don't think I was one of those people. I had the compassion and the empathy, but that's about it. So I'm trying to do everything for those people, make sure they're, the room is tight and all that, and you just don't even have time for that. Make sure that I'm trying to feed them all their food, just trying to take care of the person as they're supposed to be taken care of, and you just can't, or you're not going to leave on time. And oftentimes I didn't, and I would leave feeling guilty because I couldn't do it all. So I don't know, it just wasn't a good experience for me. There are some others that I have spoken to that have really, they love being a CNA, and like I said, they know what to do. And then you have others who hate being a CNA, and they're really good at their job. So it just all depends on what's specifically for you. And yeah, of course, I'm doing this video, so, but I also want you to do your research. Even though it's relatively cheap, it's still money, it's still time. Those are, and especially your time. Your time is very valuable, and you can't buy back time once you and then find out that you hate your career that you chosen, or the pathway that you chosen. So you always want to do your research, shadow people, talk to people, go in those nursing homes. You can just walk into a nursing home. You don't have to. You can just walk in there, smell the smells, see the sights, and all jobs are not created equal. So shop around. I've had jobs where one job I was being paid, I think, like $8. This was like years and years ago, long time. It had to be like, it's almost 14 years ago. I was making like $8 on a day shift. All the patients were total care. My coworkers gave me the hardest set. I was new, so of course they gave me the hardest set, and that's something sometimes you deal with when you work with agency or you're new. They unfortunately, your coworkers, instead of everybody banding together, would try to throw you under the bus, and unfortunately I saw that more often than not in the field, not just happening to me, but also to other people. Now, every once in a while, you do get a great team, and that really makes the job. It makes it so easy to come into work. But more often than not, it was people trying to get over and push the hardest work off to somebody else, and that includes agency workers. It was a lot of times where agency workers would complain that they give you this hard set and then they go sit down and now you're by yourself, nobody's offering to help you. So it just wasn't a good experience for me at that particular place. I ended up leaving there. I did not stay there long. Making $8 doing all that work. All the people are on Hoyer lifts, and the Hoyer lifts are these machines that help lift heavy patients that a person shouldn't be or can't lift themselves. And so that's something that you'll find in that field if you do choose to explore that option. That and the sit to stand. There's some more cool things. The medical field has a lot of cool things. I learn something every day. I was a C.n.a for 12 years. Now I'm an LPN. I also started RN school. I've worked at VCU. I've just learned and experienced a lot of different things, and it's really cool to learn new things. So that is a benefit of working in healthcare as a C.n.a, because some of the nurses are really kind. You know, you got all types of people. You got nasty people, you got nice people. So sometimes you have a great nurse or a nice nurse, and she'll explain something to you while you're in the room, and now you've learned a new thing. Even though you can't legally do it, you now know how to do it. You have some new information. So I thought that was cool. Anyway, so I found in those environments, most of those environments, I would not get a lunch break. I'm going from the time, first of all, you get there, you're standing around because you don't have an assignment, because everybody's not coming in. It's just so you don't know who's coming in. So you're standing there waiting for your assignment. Once you finally do get your assignment, you're gone the whole shift. You don't get a lunch break. You're thirsty as I don't know if about nobody else. I'm thirsty as I don't know what. My back would hurt, my feet would hurt, and the work was just hard to me. And then I often dealt with patients who were not satisfied because they felt like, hey, I'm waiting too long for service. But if I have 25, 30 patients to my one person, I haven't even been to the bathroom. And you're ringing, and you have a right to get the care that you asked for, but I physically cannot give it to you. And so I'm dealing with the patient being angry at me. And like I said, all environments are not like that, and there are many who can handle that, and they're okay with that, and they're speedy. If you feel like that's you, then I say go for it. But I would just always do my research and look into things and talk to people, shadow before you go and spend the money. For me, it was to the point where I started to dread going to work, and I would start to cry on the way to work. I'm just be honest. And my bills were paid, but I was very unhappy with what I was doing. And I wish that I had searched out different jobs like I've done as a nurse, and found out that, you know, all work environments are not created equal. I wish that I had done that more, because when I went into working in a I can't remember what the name of the hospital is. It's for like really, really ill patients. I found that I loved that, and I got to work 12-hour shifts. The pay wasn't that great, but sometimes you got to sacrifice the pay for your mental and physical and emotional well-being. I'm really on that nowadays. I just think it's so important because we as people, we are not just, God made us very complex. We're not just black and white, just robot, go in there and do it and go. We're not like that. We have emotions, we have a brain, we have feeling, well, emotions. So anyway, you can't just gloss over that stuff. It's not gonna go well, in my opinion. I ended up taking a break from doing that for some time, and I was doing other things like Instacart and stuff like that, and I found myself so much happier doing those things, and I just think it wasn't for me. um, Now, I will say that I did like the flexibility because you can make your hours. You can work for an agency and get additional pay. The highest I made as a C.n.a was $30 an hour. The place that I worked at was one of the worst places in my state or in my area, and I did it. I did work the job as long as I could before I started to just ask God to give me another job, and then I would always pray and then go look and find something else. Here are some things that you may want to consider before becoming a C.n.a. So the classes usually range from 4 weeks to 12 weeks. I paid about $900 for my course. I made that back tenfold as a C.n.a. You can make your money if you want to use it as like a vehicle to get you to where you want to get. You can do that. $900, you can get that back on your tax return and take that and get something that's going to make you more money. Typically, the range I see here in Virginia is about $24. And they say it's based on experience, but they also give you a ceiling. Oh, you can't go above this. So most people aren't making $30 an hour. I was very blessed to make that, but some people are making that or close to that still. You're gonna have high patient loads at some places, at most places. Many of them are going to be total. Some of them are going to be very rude. I mean, I've had all types. Patients throwing poop at the back of nurses' heads, and all types of stories, all types of people, all types of patients. But if it is a field, you're going to have your good days and your bad days, but if it's a field you're interested in, that's something you would want to know. The workload and pay again varies from location to location, and also on which shift you work. For instance, if you're working in long-term care, in the day shift, you're going to do breakfast and lunch. So you're going to have to do breakfast, wash-ups, get-ups on the day shift. Then you have lunch, and then most places are expecting you to lay them back down before you leave at 3. That was a bit much for me. Maybe there are some who can handle it very well. The evening shift is usually quite a bit of downtime, so a lot of people will go ahead and lay the patients down if they're still up before dinner, or give showers before dinner, and then you have dinner at usually 5 or 6. Sometimes the trays are late, and so then you'd feed whoever requires help with that, pass out trays, pick up trays, and then begin to prepare people for bed, and then you'll pass out snacks and then do a last round before you leave. And then on a night shift, you're supposed to do a round when you get there with the person that worked before you, and then also around when you're supposed to do rounds every 2 hours. I didn't see that a lot of time, unfortunately, when I was a C.n.a. But then you would do your last round at the end of the shift before you go, and you're supposed to round with whoever is relieving you and give report and explanation of what this patient requires. Vital signs are often performed by C.n.as. I want to make sure that I make this clear. I think it's really important. It is really important. Do not lie on the vital signs. They are very important. I saw that a lot of C.n.as, even still as a nurse, a lot of time I'll just take my vitals by myself because I know that a lot of times people are just lying about them. And we have patients taking blood pressure medications, and that's not. And then even if they're not, if they're in the facility for rehab, or they had something going on with their heart, or post stroke, whatever, you need to know the proper vital signs. Based on those vital signs, I may give medication. Like, it's just so important. And I don't think enough people know or care, but I want to make sure that I stress the importance of that. You need to know your danger zone parameters, and report them to your nurse right away. When you're taking that class, pay attention. It's not, you're not just, oh, the money. Yeah, you're going to make your money, but please pay attention to these parameters, because you could save somebody's life. I've had a C.n.a. Oh God, he was such a good, it was a man. And I love to see male C.n.a.s, because they're rare. The patients respond differently to them. You got, a male presence around, that makes a difference. They're strong, and some of them actually care about their job. We had one guy, and he was so attentive and so good. He didn't take forever, but he did take his time and treat those patients good. And he caught one lady. She was experiencing hypoglycemia, and if he hadn't caught her, if he hadn't gone in that room, she might have been dead today. And so, please don't think that you're just a C.n.a. Your job is so important. You're so helpful. I used to think that too for a long time, but you have to realize, without you, the nurses will have to do all of this stuff by themselves. You're so important. And knowing these skills are so important. So please go to the class, pay attention, make sure you know these vital signs. Your skills, when you go to the class, is going to be pretty much, most of it's going to, some of it's hand washing, which is very important too. Is if you go further in nursing, you'll study and see how they talk about how important hand washing is, and how people were dying because doctors were going from person to person treating the ill, but really they were spreading disease because they were not washing their hands. Washing hands is so important. Don't always use hand sanitizer. Get in there sometimes and scrub them hands, and do it like they teach you to. Fingernails, thumbnails, in between the fingers, back of the hand, and you keep your hands pointed downward while you wash. Do it as they say. They've done the research. And you should do it when you leave and work too. Don't go touching all over your stuff. And I make a habit of bleaching my phone and my little products that I keep in my pocket and stuff, wiping my stuff down with a bleach wipe every day after work. So I wanted to stress the importance of that. Brush up on your skills and make sure you know how to take those vitals properly to prevent errors, because you could save somebody's life or take somebody out. It's that serious. If your nurse ain't paying attention and double checking because she's overwhelmed too, somebody could be in trouble. Keep water and an accessible snack available. You're going to need it. You don't want to be getting dehydrated. I've had good success with the IV hydration packets when I was working at facilities that was like go for 12 hours. I won't say 12 hours because some of it was night shift. But if you're working the days, some of the time during the day you are working 12 hours. And so you want to have those IV hydration packets with energy. I know some like coffee and energy drinks. I don't like energy drinks. My heart is palpitating. Coffee give me that crash. But if you drink tea, black tea and green tea, they have a lot of caffeine. And those IV hydration packets with energy is more like clean. It feels like clean energy where there's no crash and all of those types of things. So I would suggest, you of course drink water too, but I would suggest having those things available too, because you might need it. And once you get into these jobs, you'll see the certain amount of hustle that you need, and you can go from there. I noticed that when I worked in the field, the employers would complain that I turned in a missed punch form, but still expect me to get off their clock right at clock out time. I was not getting off on time because I was trying to do all of my work. And I would oftentimes not take a lunch break. Now you can do what you want, in that situation, But I chose to, in the beginning, I wouldn't take a lunch break. And I think towards the end of being a CNA, I began to take my lunch breaks and just staying the extra time and finishing my work. Because I just felt like I needed to just go in my car and just sit down for a moment and rest my back and my feet. Um, Of course, you should know that if you become a CNA and you work in most fields, most areas that you work in as a CNA, you're going to be cleaning bodily fluids, and that's urine, feces, vomit, blood, whatever that may be. You're going to be doing shampooing. You're going to be doing all of the care that a person would do for themselves if they could. Um, and I found that in the facilities, many times the housekeepers are refusing to clean up the fluids, and they require that the CNAs and the nurses get the fluids up and then sanitize after. I'm not sure what that's about or if that's supposed to be the way it is, but it's been like that as far as as far as I remember, for years. So you will be expected to do things like that. That will be part of your job. If that doesn't bother you, then great, go for it. If it does, maybe you might want to pursue something else, or because I don't know of any CNA positions that don't require dealing with body fluids. Um, and I would say, I think my last tip, or my last tidbit of information would be you need to do rounds on your patients. Remember that depending on you, you're doing something important. You're doing God's work. Remember, we are his representatives in the earth. These people are paralyzed, they're sick, some of them intellectually disabled, just different afflictions, and they need you. And so I would just suggest that just do your rounds on your patients, and do the best you can. Please, I've seen this too many times, please don't leave your patients in pools of urine and feces. The Bible talks about do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and everything you do it unto the Lord. Don't leave. I know it can be a crazy field to work in. It can be overwhelming, and it's just one of you and 25 or 30 or 35 or 40 of them. Do the best you can. Do the best you can. God's gonna understand. Pray for strength. Pray for help. Always be praying. Whatever you need. Guess what? I gotta share this. Recently, maybe a couple months ago, I was talking to God because I was just feeling like a burden. I call on God for everything, for one thing. And I was feeling like a burden for contacting somebody in the earth to do what they're supposed to do, but I was getting a little upset because I was feeling like a burden, and I was talking to God about it. Before I was thinking it, and before I could even say it to him, he told me, "You are never a burden." And I wish I had the verse right in front of me, but just know you're not a burden to your Heavenly Father. Whatever you need, that is what he wants us to do. Whatever you need, reach out to him. If you need strength for the day, if you need a day off, if you need some time off, start talking to God about everything. Talk to him about what you need. But just remember that, and as well as remember that we are his representatives in the earth. So even if you choose to do the C.n.a route, the LPN route, or whatever you choose to do it unto the Lord. That's what we have to do. We are his representatives, and when you love him, you move to do the things he wants you to do. So let's keep that verse in mind as we go forth. But that was all I could think of. Once again, I am available for comments, questions. If I missed anything, I'm sure I missed something, but I have 12 years of experience in that field, and even more years of experience in just nursing homes and healthcare in general. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever, just reach out in the comments, and I'll get back to you. And so we can close this out with prayer if you would like. Father, in the name of Jesus, I just come before you, and I thank you for this day, and thank you for all that you provided us for with, Lord. I ask that whoever these people are who are considering this career field or whatever career field they're considering, Lord, I pray that you guide them and give them the strength to do it. We do need more workers in this field and more good ones at that, not just the ones who are out for the money, but out to do your will and your work, Lord, to improve these conditions that we see going on in these places, Father. Guide their hands, bless them, cover them, Lord. Strengthen them, lift them up. And I pray that they be blessed and highly favored for all that they do, Lord. Bless their hands and make their hands holy and righteous, Father. And it's in Jesus' name that I pray and I thank you in advance. Amen. All right, ladies, until next time, have a great week. Bye.